What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the HIT.OR.DIE podcast. Your host, HIT.OR.DIE. Roth's still not with us. He is home being dad. Got a newborn at home and taking care of baby today. Speaking of babies, happy Mother's Day to those mothers. I know it was Sunday, but I wanted to wish all the mothers out there happy Mother's Day. Hope they had a wonderful day. Again, no bullpens for mom. Please go follow the podcast on Twitter at HIT.OR.DIE podcast, also on Instagram at HIT.OR.DIE. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe, leave a comment, like, but most importantly, please share. The more we can share and get this out, the better. Again, if you're on iTunes, go ahead and give us a rating. I know you want to tap the 5-star for us, but JUCO baseball in the Central Valley is over. Fresno City was the last team standing, and they lost to Lassen over the weekend at home, I believe Friday, and then won game one Saturday and fell 13-7 in the final game 3. And I just wanted to say congrats to Coach Scott. I know we talked about Coach Batesel the week prior on how they honored him that Sunday with Coach Batesel's day. And, Coach Scott has been there for 3 decades and has won a lot of baseball games, 1,100 he finishes this career with. And just congrats. It's awesome to have 2 coaches in a span of 60 plus years is remarkable. And not only to do that, but to have the success that they've had. You just don't see it. Like I said, we're very fortunate around this area in the Central Valley and Fresno to have the commitment we've had and the success we've had as a baseball community, but also just the coaches that have been through these programs. And you're seeing, other programs over the years also have success. I can't not mention, what Coach Purse has done at Reedley or Coach Allen at COS. So we've been very lucky. And just congratulations to Coach Scott and his staff, the loyal staff he's had all those years. It's pretty amazing to see that. Again, another thing you don't see is that kind of loyalty, for one program. And I just wish him well in his retirement and the time he's going to spend with his family. I know he's really was excited about that when we did talk to him. So all the accomplishments, the amazing run you had there. And, I know I saw some stuff come out about the new coach, and Coach Scott is going to be handing the keys over. It was reported that longtime assistant and pitching coach Eric Solberg is going to step in as the interim until a new coach is hired. I'm not sure when that process begins. I did see a name thrown out there via Twitter by our own Nick Papagni. I think he jumped the gun a little, Nick. We kind of talked a little bit. Leader in the clubhouse. I don't know about that. Candidate, absolutely. He threw out the name J.D. Sales, who was a coach at the San Joaquin Memorial Panthers the last few years and at Kingsburg. For sure, a candidate. I've been asked by a few people who else is candidates. Listen, it's the list of people that I've heard is pretty long, qualified, and then honestly, just the respect of the job. Like the one thing I thought about with what Nick posted was it was Monday and, the season ended Saturday. So maybe a bit too soon. I will be joining Nick Friday for his show, so we can also get into it there. But Nick, he likes to stir the pot. And but again, there's going to be a lot of qualified people. And then just the people we don't know for that job. You're going to have, I'm sure, D1 assistants looking for it. Around here, we don't know who's going to go for it. It's going to be a highly sought after job, I'm sure. Again, the Valley around here is rich with a lot of baseball talent, and we just have to wait and see. Endorsing a candidate, I will not do. Not yet. I wait till it's posted and that's all official. And with respect to Coach Scott and the team and the players and what's going on there and just whatever transition phase they have. Like I said, I'll wait till it's posted and I get more of who's getting in and who's at least applying, stuff like that. But I just ultimately, congrats to Coach Scott. It's a big deal. The time he took, just all these years, the impact, you just can't measure it. It's, the alumni and so many people. And then you talk to Fresno City alumni and it's just those are the best years of their lives. And There's a reason for that. And again, just congrats to Coach Scott. I also want to shout out Geron Watts-Brown, Long Beach State, former Hanford Bullpup, toss a no-hitter. Damn near perfect game on Sunday on Mother's Day. 16 strikeouts. It was the first complete game no-hitter, and I think the second in school history, and just getting blown up this week for just all these national accolades and pitchers of the week. Congrats to him. That's just an awesome accomplishment. Division I baseball, tough to do. I think it was against UC Riverside. So congrats to him, and try to get him on here in the future. But the one thing I've been seeing on social media that I wanted to get into or to start with was the Fresno Bee. Fresno Bees put out a voting deal for the Fresno area best prep hitter, which isn't a great thing, right? We want to honor our local athletes in the area. I'm not sure, sure Sacramento, our audience there, I'm sure the Sacramento Bee does the same thing, and audiences in other places. I'm sure your local newspapers or whoever does that stuff for your local athletes, which is great. The Bees Twitter page, the Fresno Bee Sports Department, the number one source for Fresno State preps and recreational sports in the Valley. There's a big question mark on that. Just be honest. I'm sorry. I haven't gone to the Fresno Bee for much of anything in a long time. But that's just me personally. I don't know where most of the people go. I'm sure they see it, pretty much everything they need on social media. And so breaking this down, right? The title of the article is Bees Best, Vote Fresno Area Best Prep Baseball Hitter. And that's great, right? As the prep baseball season winds down, the Bee wants to know who's the top hitter in the Fresno area. Here, fans have a chance to vote on that question. The poll will remain up until May 21st. To vote, again, hit refresh. To nominate a player for consideration, send an email to so-and-so to get, I guess, considered for the voting. And again, it's whatever. We want to, it's a good thing, right? We want to promote and honor our local athletes. So this isn't directed at any players, anybody on this list, anybody that sent in for consideration. It has nothing to do with that, other than I have some questions about what's so far in that short piece, right? Starting with the headline, the Fresno area. Well, I guess we need to define what the Fresno area means, because there's players from Visalia on the list. There's a player from Wenatchee who's a really good player. And but geographically, Wenatchee's closer to Bakersfield than it is Fresno. So we're spanning the Fresno area pretty far, in my opinion. Far enough to where there's guys that aren't on the list that I'm kind of like, huh? And so within that, that's my number one thing. How far do we span Fresno? How far does the Fresno area span? Because Visalia has their own publication, the Delta, Times Delta, that I'm sure honors the players in that Visalia Tulare area just like the Bee does or did. And not to say that we don't have to. I'm just asking questions, honestly. This is just my opinion. How far does Fresno area span? So far, pretty far. And then to consider some of the names that aren't on the list. Number 2, the Bee wants to know. I don't understand that. If you're the number one source, you should know. The Bee wants to know who's the top hitter in the Fresno area. If you're the number one source, you should answer your own question. My opinion, again, you shouldn't need a list, or you should have an idea who should be on the list. And my third part of this is to nominate a player. So anybody can nominate a player? At that point, is it a legit who's the best hitter? Again, I'm just asking questions. If anybody can nominate any player, at that point, It's more maybe a popularity contest versus the actual best hitter. Again, if we're going as far as Monachi, Cutter Coffey's not on this list. A potential high draft pick. Guys in our own area, Cam Schneider, Bullard High School's not on this list. There's some other guys on that Bullard team that's had good seasons. Caden Munster at Clovis West, not on that list. I'm sure there's more guys at Buchanan deserving on that list. I'm just saying that we don't have all the best hitters on the list. And the fourth and final thing, which will segue into another piece, is there's no stats on here. We don't even know who's hit what and where they've done it. I mean, we can't, not all leagues in this area are the same, right? Some leagues are just better. Some leagues have better players, better pitching, better whatever. Again, I'm not trying to take away anything from some of the players on this list, not at all. We don't have the stats for any of them. I mean, some of the guys on here I've seen play, and they are good, but we don't have any numbers. That's not in the article. Maybe, and I don't know what you need to email to get consideration. But if your number one source for prep sports, we don't know how far Fresno area spans. Like it's getting people to the Bees website, lots of them, to vote, and everything else you go on there, you've got to subscribe to go see. Are we really going to find out who the best prep hitter in the area is from this? Probably not. That's all I'm saying. And that may piss some people off, and that's fine. I hope it doesn't. Again, these are questions that I had when I saw it. There's a lot of good hitters on the list, guys that I've seen. There's some guys I obviously haven't seen. And I just questioned what's the Fresno area mean? What does that mean? Where does it end? And then to not have certain names on the list, and maybe they have been nominated since yesterday. I have to go back and look. I have no clue. I haven't checked it since yesterday evening. But there are some names missing, and it's funny to me because a lot of people are out there saying the same thing, especially about the stats, right? And that goes around the valley. Like, I thought teams were supposed to start posting stats. And I mean, to do this correctly, we should have some stats. We use them to vote on our all league players. You know what I mean? First teams for the section. I know Nick Papagni does his stuff based on the numbers. We don't have numbers here. How can you call yourself the number one source? We need to fix that. You guys need to go take that down. Yeah. Take that off. You're not the number one source. You may have more followers and stuff, but you're not the number one source. That's my opinion. People can agree to disagree. That's fine. I'm not trying to knock anybody on this list just in case people get upset. I'm shaking you. It's directed at the Fresno Bee. Like, what is your intent here? That's all. What is your intent? Is it to get people to the website and pay a subscription? It's a popularity contest. What are we doing? It's not real. To me, it's not going to be a real thing unless there's some other names on this. And it's limited to a fan or a parent vote or an area vote or a school's fan base vote. We got to take the bias out of it, right? I would think. I don't know. I'm wrong a lot of the time. I don't know if I'm wrong on this one. Either way, ultimately, I don't consider the Fresno Bee sports section to be the number one source for info. Not even for Fresno State, because I can go directly to the source and get information now on social media. So let's go ahead and fix that, Fresno Bee Twitter. And talking about fake. I got into a conversation at the Buchanan Clovis West game last week. I think they were tied for first place in the division or in the league. And it was a big game, right? Good crowd, good atmosphere. It was fun to watch pitchers duel for the most part early. I thought both pitchers were excellent. Clovis West had some stupid mistakes that they made throughout the game. And it was a good game. I honestly thought they both good teams, and I would like to see them play again, actually, making a run throughout the playoffs. But it got into a conversation, and I know this is going to make people mad at the Buchanan. It's not even directed at Buchanan. We were talking about the scoreboards got their national championship banners up there, or the years. 2011 and 2016, Buchanan High School in the Clovis area was awarded the national championship. One was the Fab 50, and I think the other one was Max Preps USA Today. I'm not sure. Clovis High was awarded the same thing in 97, 98. And I know Bullard also has a couple from back in the day. I'm not sure the years on those. It was a conversation about national championships for high schools. It wasn't directed at any of those three schools, those teams. I played against both of those teams as a coach. I had teams play against both Buchanan teams, very good teams, legit. Has nothing to do with that. My comment is that they're not real. And it kind of rubbed somebody the wrong way. And I wasn't trying to be a jerk about it. My opinion has always been that they're not real. As far as we don't know who the best team in the country was in any year. It doesn't even have to be those teams. It could have been any team anywhere in the country awarded anything by any of those outlets. You should not be awarding a high school team, especially in baseball, a national championship. Unless we play for it, there's no need to hand it out. Right? There's no need because I was looking back. I don't think Buchanan played any of those teams in the top 10, top 15 of those rankings. So how do we really know? Unless we're playing for it. That was my point. Obviously, somebody took it personal, and I wasn't talking about Buchanan. I was talking about in general. And I'm sure there's going to be some people that agree or don't agree. I just felt like we shouldn't do that. Now with the Southern section, at least last year, the Southern section, we have a playoff system set up for the state championship for baseball, which is great. Finally, we finally have something to determine a state championship, not just an outlet saying, you know what, we're going to give it to these guys. Because that doesn't make any sense. You know what it's like? It's like if at the end of the season in the Valley, in the Central section, we say, all right, we do our ranking. We'll do Nick Papagni. We'll do Pag's rankings. 1 through whatever, Division 1 through 16, 1 through 8, whatever it is going to be. We'll get into that next. We rank the teams at the end of the regular season. And let's say Buchanan's number 1 in that ranking. And we just say, all right, that's it. They're the section champs. It's the same thing. We're going to go say that Bullard High School's the national championship over De La Salle and all these other teams. And not to say that they're not. We just don't know. Until somebody, I don't know if the National Federation of High Schools, or I was thinking, like, what if Max Preps, right? Max Preps is the one that awards this thing. What if you made, a tournament? What if you took your top 8 teams in your rankings? I don't know how it would work with logistically. They're all over the country, and you have, schools out, and it'd be almost impossible to do. But just the thought of it would be if somebody decided, hey, let's go play for it. At that point, you could take your 8 teams or 10 teams or whatever you want to do. Obviously, that's never going to happen. Now, I won't say never. 99% sure that it would not happen. But I'm just saying, until we're playing for it, it's not a real thing. Certainly be proud of it. Somebody honored you with that. All those teams should feel privileged and grateful for that honor. I mean, has nothing to do with those teams. I'm just saying in general. And not to take away from any team that's ever won a national championship out there that listens, or if they do listen. I just feel like it was a fun debate that we had. And I thought, I'm going to talk about this because I'm sure other people have different opinions on it. And most of the people that I've talked to baseball wise, especially around here, think it's kind of dumb that they do that. But for the same reasons, is that there's no way to really determine if you're the best team in the country or not. And I just think that's with all the schools, all the players, all the teams out there, we don't know. And I love that the states moved into, for baseball, a state playoff. I think that's great. Was fortunate enough to have our team playing it last year. It was cool to host. I don't think the northern section did anything actually the last 2 years, 2020 or 2021, for the pandemic reasons. And I believe they will this year. I don't even know if the North is going to play the South in future playoffs to determine a sole state champion. That would be cool. Maybe somebody out there may know that listens. Let me know in the state of California how we're going to do that. Is it just going to be a northern section champion and a southern section champ, or are those two champs going to play each other? I mean, that would be pretty sweet. I'm not sure what the future looks like or holds for that. But it was a fun little debate, and I don't mind if people think I'm just wrong on that, and that's okay. But I just thought it would be interesting to bring it up. Again, I'm not taking away anything from any of those Clovis, Bullard, Buchanan ball clubs. Awesome teams. Again, I saw both Buchanan teams. I saw the Clovis team in 98 a little bit. I was a lot younger, but that was one team that we would go watch games against. We watched play a few times as a kid. Just don't think that they should be awarding that. Like, it's just kind of, I don't know. Let me know what you think. I would love your opinions on that. Again, right or wrong, it's all good. Just wanted to, think it'd be fun to get into that debate with some other people. So listen, message me, shoot me something on Twitter, Instagram, wherever. And we can definitely bring up those topics on here. One of these days, I got to get some more phone calls on this thing and get some people to give their opinions on this stuff. But that was my opinion on awarding a national champion. I don't think it fits for high school. It's just hard to do. Again, until we're playing for it, I don't think we should be doing that. It's not a legit thing. Is it an honor? 100%. That somebody thinks your team is the best in the country? Absolutely. And you wear that with pride, right? And as you should. I just don't feel like that people should be doing that. That's all. As the high school baseball season in this area winds down, you've got the seeding's going to come out for playoffs. And this has been a real interesting topic. Again, I'm going to be doing Papagni's show on Fox Sports on Friday. And I know we're going to get into this a little bit, and he's gotten into it a bit recently. But the playoff system for our central section is a mess. And I don't know when I'm assuming that this is it for this year on it. I don't know if they're going to do it again next year. I don't know where it came from, if it's the CIF commissioner. I don't know if it's a bunch of athletic directors. I don't know the purpose of it. We haven't really broken it down very much on here. But now that it's here for baseball, there are some things that don't make any sense. And I don't know how to, I have some ideas on how we could fix our playoff system and how we do things. I think the Sac Joaquin section, those in the Sacramento area and basically Merced North. I love what they do. And they have a 16-team bracket, and they run a 2-loss elimination, and it's like 5 or 6 days, and it's to me, it's the way to do it. Now we're going with 8 teams. And I don't know if it stems from basketball wanting to do this, or I know football did this, but in baseball, I just feel like this is not the right fit. This doesn't work for baseball. I don't like the teams moving up and down. I honestly feel like if you're going to let's start with this. My first question is this. Why isn't there 16 teams in Division I? I've yet to get an answer or hear an answer from this. Why is there not 16 teams in Division I? Why do we have 8? I don't. Right. The way it's going to set up now is those 8 teams in Division I will have to win 3 games to win a section championship instead of 4. As far as I know how it's going to play out, right? It's going to be three games. And then we're going to take teams that don't qualify for Division I, and we're going to drop them down to Division II. I got a better idea. How about you just don't make the playoffs? Let's just do that. My original idea was, and I've heard this from a couple people, but I was thinking about, well, why don't you do open, right? You have the top 8 in the open division. And then the 8th or the 7th through or 9 through 16, that's your Division I. But then you're still having teams under 500 going to win a Division I championship because we got to include everybody. Everybody deserves. No, not everybody deserves a chance to win a championship. There's been teams that we've gone to the playoffs with that I was like, we don't deserve to go to the playoffs. I know that the district that I coached in, we were a 500 district. So, with common or division opponents, if we were Division II, if we didn't stay at a certain 500 with Division II teams, we weren't going to the playoffs. So I just feel like maybe some teams just don't go. I would love to hear some opinions on that. My other thought was, okay, so top 8 and then the last 8 in Division I. It doesn't, no. But I don't want teams dropping down to Division II. Who's that fair to? Who's that fair to? Nobody. It's not fair to anybody. It's not fair to a team like, and I've told a couple like Fresno High, who's going to have a really good record, who beat some good teams early, and is probably going to get a lower seed because of all these D1 teams flooding down into D2. And they're not even going to get a home game. But they're going to be Division II. Or like a Kerman, who's going to be undefeated and probably have to go play up. When's the last time Kerman had a team undefeated through the regular season almost? I don't think ever. And let's reward them by playing teams that don't belong in the playoffs. Who's this fair to? Who's it fair to? So my other idea was, okay, how about this? You want to take a limited amount of teams, fine. But you ain't dropping down. You're not dropping down and you're not going up. If for some reason you just have a out of this world season in Division III and you dominate, it was just your time to dominate Division III. And again, this is my opinion. So people may love it or hate it. Just going to put it out there. Take 10 teams. All right. We end the season early. And the only problem with this is finding when to start the season, because it's going to take maybe a couple extra days. We're talking maybe 1-2 days to pull this playoff format off. right, to meet the timeline to start a state playoff. So maybe we start the season, a week sooner. I'm not sure how we work those details out, but we can do that. The overlap from 1 week from a winter sport to a spring sport is not that detrimental, I don't think. We can figure that out. Let's say we started early, or we end the final week of the season. So this is the last week of high school baseball in our area. Thursday is the final game of the regular season. Typically, the CIF will put it all together Saturday, playoff seedings, and then they'll go out. If we end Thursday, let's end the regular season Thursday. Everybody plays a day game. And Thursday evening, a committee, not just the CIF, not just the computer rankings, and Pags has talked about this numerous times, a group of people, and we take all of that, all of it, the head-to-heads, the computer rankings, the strength of schedule, numerous criteria, and you do your ranking. And we'll use Division I for an example. You take the top 10, and your 1 through 6 essentially get a bye. And so you put out those seedings Friday. You deliberate on Thursday. You put out your seedings Friday. And Saturday, the playoff starts. Yeah, you're playing 3 days a week. And the reason why I don't care about that is the track's doing it now. And I know it's the track people are going to have. Well, it's the track. They have more. I mean, when we play the Easter Classic, we play 4 games in 3 days. The Coke Classics, I think 6 games in 6 days. Literally, the Easter Classics, 4 games in 3 days. So you'll play Tuesday, Thursday, season ends. Saturday, out of that top 10, you do a wild card or play-in. And you have the 8 play the 9 seed, and the 7 play the 10 seed. And the winner of those 2 round out your top 8. 1 through 6 are safe, and they'll play Tuesday. And then you'll have 8 play 1, 7 play 2, 6 play 3, 5 play 4. And you can run a 2-loss from there on out. So it starts with 10. You do a play-in game or a wild card on a Saturday, and then Tuesday, the top 8 beyond that play-in game will play for a 2-loss elimination tournament, like the Sac Joaquin does. I know I've heard 2 out of 3 for the championship series. There's not enough time to do that and meet the state playoff timeline. Now the Sac Joaquin just takes 16 teams, which we could just do that and run a 2-loss elimination all the way into the championship. It was just an idea, but I prefer it be teams that just don't go. We can't be sending Division I teams down. Right? And if there's a team and you take a top 8 and there's, a team that's could be 9 or 8 and you're not really sure what to do, that's where the play-in game comes. They do it in JUCO. So you play 3 games in a week for a couple weeks to get your champion. And you probably can't get a 2 or 3 best of 3 series for the end, unless we can find more time to do that, right? So you start earlier, you shorten the season. I would prefer not to shorten any games. 28 contacts is what we got. I'd prefer to keep that, but maybe start date is a little different. The dead period stuff needs to be gone, or in the fall anyways. Do it in the fall. But the ultimate question for me with all of this is, why is Division I the only division without 16 teams? Whatever reason that is, why is it that the 8 that don't make the top 8 or don't make it get to go down? You just don't make the playoffs. You just don't get in. I would prefer to just go back to that. Teams are going to get screwed in this. I've seen computer rankings where teams are head-to-head have beat teams, but because of strength of schedule, they're ranked lower. Now, if those teams hadn't played head-to-head, I could see the argument for using strength of schedule to seed them. But in this circumstance, we've got a team that's played a specific team and beat them multiple times and is yet seated lower. There's a lot of red flags. There's a lot of question marks. I think whoever came up with this and whatever group of people need to reconsider. And I really think, egos aside, you need to put people that are involved in the sports for these different areas involved. And I'm not saying me for baseball. You can get a committee of baseball people easy. You can get a committee of football people easy. Basketball people easy. People that go watch, people that are in the know. Not a group of people that don't go watch any games, that have nothing to do with understanding how good these teams are. You don't know. You don't see them. You don't talk to people. Some do, or maybe some do, or maybe some, I don't know. I'm under the understanding that they don't. And I only say that because over the years I've seen some pretty stupid rankings or seedings. I would love some other ideas. I would love for people to present some more ideas. I know Nick Papagni, the Pag Meter Show, has put his thoughts out there as far as the committee stuff goes. I don't think it would be that challenging to get people involved in something like that. I really don't. I really think you can find the people to put together a legit group and seed this stuff. Or if people think this works, I mean, I would love to hear why. But ultimately, why is there not 16 teams in Division I? What is the point of this? What are we trying to accomplish? What are we trying to do? There's a reason that people chose, and I don't know who these people are, chose to do it this way. And just an idea of why they chose to do it this way would be great. An explanation would be great. Especially to those teams that are possibly going to get hosed in this deal. You know, and again, more ideas. If anybody's got any feedback to that, well, again, love to hear it. You know, I got asked I had a message the other day of, you know, talking about all this playoff stuff. And I had a message the other day of why, you know, we haven't done any rankings for local high school stuff in the last couple of years. And it's just like, I don't care. Not that I don't care about the team. I don't believe, not that I don't believe in it. Rankings don't mean shit. They just don't. Anybody can beat anybody. And the way we do our playoffs, it doesn't matter. You've seen teams that weren't supposed to lose. You've seen teams that you would have said had no shot go win it all. I mean, I've been involved in one of those teams. And so rankings for me during the season, it just doesn't mean anything. You know, we've seen it in JUCO. Ohlone almost, the number one seed, almost dropped their series. You know, and these guys at that level, it's not so much seed based other than that we get to play at home. You know, like cities like, yeah, we get to play at home against Lassen. That was a good ball club. Just because they're 11 seed, that doesn't, no. And I'm sure they weren't even looking at that. So seeding, you know, rankings, it's fun. It's nice to be considered, you know what I mean? You know, one of the best teams, but it doesn't mean you're okay. Easy road from here. No, you got to go play the games and win, and anybody can beat you at any time. So that's why we don't do rankings. And especially around here, like I said, the playoff format is one and done. Yeah, I've seen teams that I've been on both sides of it, coaching a team that was number one, that its destiny was to win the whole thing, and we lost. And then I've been a part of teams that middle of the road throughout the whole year, and a tough road to get to it, and then we win it. You know, it can happen. The best team doesn't always win. with, as far as the rankings go. So that's kind of why I just stay away from that stuff, So for those that ask or want to know why we don't do that, that's kind of why. I just don't. I feel like at the end of the year, they'll put out their seedings and the best team's going to win, or the hottest team's going to win. The team with the momentum is going to win. The team that plays better baseball is going to win, regardless of what they were ranked halfway through the season. And it's just my opinion on that's why we don't do it. Plus, you get a lot of crap from people who feel like, oh, well, my team's this or that team's that. Nah, I don't want to deal with it. I'd rather not. I let the guys that do it. For the most part, I think they do a good job. I just don't want the heat. And that's just my opinion on it, too, as far as, how it goes around here. Again, anybody can beat anybody. The ranking doesn't define what kind of team you have at the end of the day, because your team can get hot at the right time. The chemistry could hit the right time, and you guys can go win it all. So, like I said, I've been on both sides of it, and that's why I choose to not put out the rankings like a lot of guys do. And again, it's all good, and they do a good job. I'm not one to want to do it. So, but again, a little shorter one today. Wanted to get some of that stuff out there for you guys. Also, I will be with Nick Papagni on Fox Sports this Friday, doing the Pag Meter show. So go stay tuned for that. Check it out Friday 4 to 6. And Ross should be back soon. Again, miss my guy here. It's just a lot more fun to do it with him, just to have a little more feedback. He also sees things I don't see a lot of the times, or has different opinions than I have. But Roth will be back soon. And again, if you're not checking out the other project I have going, Watch Your Lips, please go check out Watch Your Lips. At also on Instagram and Twitter at WatchYour_Lips. Just another side podcast I've been doing. For those that's sticking with Hit or Die, I always appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. And go follow the podcast at Hit or Die Podcast on Twitter and at Hit or Die on Instagram. That is another episode of the Hit or Die Podcast.